Be the final New York Comic Con panel for Gotham. I know, it's garbage. But it lives in our hearts. We have done so much great stuff with Gotham here in this amazing city. These guys have crushed it for the last 5 seasons. So I'm gonna bring them out to talk about it and to hopefully give us, actually, not hopefully, they're gonna give us some huge news today. Yeah, it's gonna be great. So let's bring out showrunner and executive producer John Stevens. Mr. Chris Chalk. Donal Logue. Corey Michael Smith. Robin Lord Taylor. Cameron Bigandova. David Mazouz. And Sean Pertwee. All right, well, first of all, I think we should give them all a round of applause right now for everything they've done so far. It has been an absolute pleasure. I have to say that you guys have given pop culture characterizations that are just as iconic as the roles you've taken on. These characters will be this generation's Batman story. So congratulations on that. I'm so excited for you. Those are big bat boots to fill. Like, this is not like you take one false move and it all falls apart, and you have across the board gotten it right for a story that could have gone completely haywire in the wrong way. How does it feel now knowing that you get to end it the way you want?
It's exciting and it's a lot of responsibility, like you say, because it feels like the story that we all have been telling for the past 5 years has actually now, you know, when we began, it's like you see the canon and you're approaching the canon and you think of it the way you grew up with it. And now 5 years down the line, you go, wait, we actually are now a part of canon, and you have a responsibility to the characters that all these actors have created to make sure that they, you know, live up to all the work that they've done before. So it's exciting, but it's also scary.
Yeah. How do you guys feel as you kind of come into the home stretch? How is it knowing that these stories will get to end?
I feel like I want to read that finale, John.
Right?
When's it going to be finished, man?
When can we get the script?
Any minute, total. You have a big role in the finale.
Yeah!
Is the finale written? Yeah. Oh, man. Okay. All right. Okay. So, yeah, how is it, guys, as you start wrapping us? David, you guys Instagrammed a photo of, like, your last day shooting on the mansion set, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, very bittersweet, that. I mean, I've watched this young man, remarkable young man, grow up in that very room. And we were just talking about how many hours, in fact, we worked out probably weeks we've spent in there. And it's like it's very much like a sanctuary. It's our sort of safe place, you know. Yeah. But it was very sad to see it go.
Though there is that one weird little statue of the baby there that we've never, I think, shot in the...
Yeah, there's this metallic baby that's been in every scene. He's remarkably good, I have to say.
I'm gonna try to steal. I don't know if you guys noticed it, but there's a knight by the door.
Yes.
Warner Brothers probably will want to archive it, but I'm gonna try to steal it from them.
There you go. Yes. Yes.
Because I think it would look better in my room.
Yeah. I think you should just wear it out one day.
Yeah.
Sneak it out.
No one will notice, right? You guys won't tell anybody.
That's actually, I wanted to ask all the actors and John, you guys, I mean, we've all watched David and Cameron kind of grow up on screen and taking these roles, but for you guys, you spent all this time really being part of them growing up. How has that been, watching them become, you know, such assured performers and, you know, like adults?
I want to say that David used to be nice to me. And the older he's gotten, the less nice he is to me.
Why is this guy still talking?
See what I mean?
Is there no security here?
Like, it's in his contract not to sit next to me on panel.
Blah, 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 blah.
You know, David and Cameron were amazing, extraordinary human beings when it started, and they haven't changed a bit. And it's been such a pleasure and joy. That's one of the great things of doing this job, is growing up with people and kind of having that responsibility. But you know, in the acting world, you're more peers in this way. Like, you can be peers at 11 and 80, but there's this beauty of having had a sitcom family before, going through the same thing and watching people get their driver's license, et cetera, it's just been a huge joy to watch these two young people. I wouldn't say develop because they were already phenomenal souls when it started, but just to be able to spend the last 5 years with them has been amazing.
And when we walk to our dressing rooms at our film studio, all of our the portraits from season 1 posters are lined up on the wall, and the last 2 that we see before we turn the corner to go into our hallway are Cameron and David. And David looks he is a little baby. It is so amazing.
I just want to say too, as you know, part of the topic of this conversation, it has been such a blessing getting to grow up along these people because this was my first television job and first big role, and I had no idea what I was doing. I was so used to the dance industry and I was completely clueless, and these people, even David, they've taught me so much without even knowing it, and it's just been super great getting to be part of this family for the last 5 years.
All right, so before we all start weeping, so let's talk about this final season, because you have a lot to do in half the time that you normally get. And of course, you blew up most of the city before you found out that you had half the time. So we are gonna have your take on No Man's Land and Year Zero, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so walk us through where are we picking up? Where are all of our players?
Well, we pick up in 501 after the bridges have been blown and the government has disavowed Gotham, and Jim Gordon and the GCPD have a very small area inside of Gotham that they have created as a green zone, and all of our other characters have their little fiefdoms. You know, there's the Penguin section, the Central Park, where Ivy apparently controls, and Zaz has a section, and everybody else has a section, and people are fighting for survival. And Jim is trying to keep the people of Gotham safe as long as they possibly can until the government hopefully comes and rescues them at that point. Yeah.
All right, so we've
It's just
isolated.
not a safe place.
No, it's a terrible place.
And especially dirty, you know.
So I want to hear from the owners of some land, some of the fiefdoms. Robin, what is Penguin's area like?
Okay, so Penguin, very characteristically of himself, he puts himself, well, when the bridges blow and the government, hi everybody. When the bridges blow and there's a power vacuum and we all sort of step in to take over, this is Penguin's time to sort of rebuild Gotham in his image. And so he puts himself right in City Hall, and which weirdly is kind of appropriate because he was mayor for a second, very successfully.
Right.
But you know, he does know the ins and outs of running the city more so than the people who are not there anymore. So yeah, it's a very good place for him to be. He also, it's sort of. He, in a weird way, he's a war profiteer. He's profiting off of this chaos. He also controls the ammunition, so like anyone who's going to rise up basically has to come through him at some point. So it's a good place for him to start. We'll see if he holds on to it. If someone comes for him, I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Okay. And Corey, when we last saw Nigma, he wasn't actually really in a place to take over any area. What can you tell us?
At the top of season 5, he's waking up in strange places, unsure of how he got there or what has transpired while he was getting himself there, and he's kind of losing his mind because he can't figure out what's happening, and he's trying to find a pattern, and he doesn't know if he's sort of lost his mind to his alter ego or if someone else is perhaps controlling him, and so he's on a plight to figure that out.
And has he taken over an area?
He's just chilling in the library.
That makes sense.
It's a beautiful library, so he's just hiding behind some books.
Nice. All right, John.
It's more exciting than that.
It is, he's taken over the Gotham
Right,
library, and it's a beautiful library.
Right. Enigma's storyline is like he finally finishes the corrections. When you guys cast those two, did you ever imagine just the electric performances we were going to get out of them and the absolute, like, this pairing that just worked so well? Did you guys see in them? Because look at their faces. Like, you don't think master villains.
I wasn't around for the casting of these guys, but I did know. I don't know how. I just sensed it. But in season 1, early on, you could watch them. And did you guys have any scenes together in season 1? You had one scene, right?
Episode 15, I think. We had our first scene together.
It was sort of a revelation to us when we were going, why don't we have these two cross? And then when we started to play into Enigma's fascination with the character of Oswald and how it fed his own sort of obsessions with his other self, all of a sudden we had this kind of gravitational force in the middle of the show that has fed story and character throughout. It's been when you're doing these shows for a long period of time, one of the things you're always looking for is those things that develop that you never thought were going to develop, and they start feeding your show throughout. And so that's been one of the gifts that these guys brought to it. It's been amazing.
Now, Donald, when we first met Harvey Bullock, he looked poised to be more of a villain. He was corrupt. He was kind of a disaster. He was definitely not on board with a lot of what Jim wanted to do with the city. And over the course of this show, he has risen, he has fallen, but he's always maintained a nobility, like a self-respect, and he's always kind of stayed true to himself, except when he had to do it for the greater good. Are you surprised that he lasted this long? Because we all know where he stands. Like, the movies kill him off all the time.
I never, and thank you, Damien, for all that. I thought I read the comics, and I got into the backstory, and it's dangerous sometimes, but because there had been beautiful incarnations of Harvey Bullock, though not many. But I thought, and especially in the comics, if he's this dark, you can't roll with him week after week after week. That there has to be, and maybe that's our job as actors anyway, but there has to be some empathetic thing that makes people think you're human. And I never felt he was that dirty. I always thought that he was just incredibly pragmatic, that the way that you go about business in Gotham is that you have to kind of do a little bit over here to make something bigger work over here. And it's interesting because as years progress, people always say, well, Jim's great, and you're the dirty cop. And I'm like, Jim's done some incredibly gnarly things. And I've talked him back from some of it, and I've called him out on some of it, And but and I have to say, we're missing our leader. We're missing Ben McKenzie, and Morena couldn't be here sadly today. But Ben is the guy that ties us all together. He's the one character that is, he's the portal to all of these different worlds, and getting to work with Ben as a human being. I've been through some stuff on the show, life is life. And I remember there was a scene in season 2 where Ben pulls me and kind of does this forehead to forehead thing, unscripted. And it was Ben telling me as a human being, I'm here. It sounds crazy, but it's really powerful. It's like this is my family, and we're all incredibly close. But I do think with the Harvey Bullock that if you play that kind of sour note over and over, where do you really have to go? You just gotta kind of nuance it. So,
Well done. And Chris.
Yes.
Which was Fox. This guy. Again, and I think we mentioned it last year at New York Comic Con, that this is, I think, the only actual logical man in Gotham.
Yeah.
I'm the only person that makes sense.
Like, it could literally, I would love to see this guy's, journal, because he's like, I do not understand, what is going on with this city?
Today was haywire. I don't understand.
Right. Yet, he has been drawn into every crazy scheme. He has saved countless lives. I mean, honestly, in a way,
and gets no credit for
Yeah,
it.
yeah. How has that been? Because he is possibly because he's the most subtle role in this. Thank you. You know? So how do you stay on that level and keep him grounded when like you've got a penguin, you know? Or somebody like Jeremiah who's like, I'm gonna blow up the entire city, and you're like, well, if we just hack into the source code, you know?
I think, you know what? I think in stories like this, and also just because of the writing of this, one, the writing is grounded, you know? In all of the characters, it's grounded, but Lucius in particular, he is exactly what you say. He's the man of common sense. He's the man who is going to take the most logical route, what he thinks is most effective. And he is kind of the audience. Right? The audience, you have to have kind of a normal so that people know what crazy is. And I think that...
if this was a comedy, he'd be the lead.
Yeah, exactly. You know? I'd be the lead, and these be the fools around me.
Yeah. Your wacky coworkers.
That was for Enigma.
Which is funny, because he's a clown off stage. I mean that as a compliment, by the way. That sounded kind of rude. I just mean he's funny. I just meant that he was funny. I'm sorry. I didn't mean like clown. Like your life isn't a circus.
Wow.
I just mean that you are a funny guy.
This is what I mean. See, this is what I mean. There's no appreciation for Lucius.
Hey, he's logical. I've gone to his apartment and just chilled with him and Kim, his beautiful wife. He helped me set up my insurance. So this guy, he's logical. Okay, he's logical.
You just made me sound like the oldest man on earth.
Right.
He helped me set up my insurance.
He said, Cameron.
He showed me what a newspaper was.
No. He was like, Cameron, you need to find a doctor. This is important. Your health is important, sis.
It's true.
Like, okay.
It's true. There's a little Lucius in Chris Chalk.
Yes.
And there's
nice,
a little Chris
excellent.
Chalk in Lucius.
All right. And now Sean, our hot Alfred.
Woo!
I'm telling you.
Thank you.
Is from the minute he showed up in that like the butler's outfit, you're like, yes. Yes. Gotham has a West Village. Nice. But
We're
he
5
has
seasons in, and my mom still says every time you're on screen, God, he's handsome.
so handsome. Yeah. I'm like, I can't believe like Barbara didn't go for him or Vicky Vale and be like, Daddy, what's up? This has been probably the most proactive Alfred we've had. This guy has been, he's kick-ass. And then the first time we really got to see it was in that like kitchen scene with his old military buddy where we're like, oh, he's not messing around. Like, this should be the guy who trains Bruce Wayne. How has that been? Because when you take on a character who's basically known for lurking in the shadows and telling Bruce Wayne to, put on his suit and say that Master Dick is here, to get to like,
I beg your pardon?
to get to actually like do all this great action stuff, and also, no offense to Hollywood, but they're really not giving that kind of action roles to guys, over 40. Unless you're Tom Cruise.
No, that's been the great thing, and thanks to John and to the other showrunners, to Bruno and Danny, is just to give them physicality, which was honestly something that I don't think anyone's really sort of seen before, and that's been my sort of greatest hook and what I've enjoyed the most. And also, you suddenly realize how much of Alfred is in Batman, basically. The fact that he's like the Swiss Army knife, and he's adaptable, and he can do virtually everything, that he's educated Master Bruce, he's educated him, he's taught him to fight, he's taught him so many things. So there's so much of Alfred actually in Bruce, and I love that, spending time. Like, normally when you see renditions which are 90 minutes in a film format, we've been given sort of 98 episodes to sort of subtextualize and show areas and regions that we've never actually looked at before. So that's been the greatest honor, to play one of the Alfred Pennyworths.
And because we got to see, especially last season, Bruce's absolute love for this man. The devastation he went through when he thought he was dead. I want to get to David, but for you personally, because you talked about working with him, do you have a favorite moment where you worked with David and thought, oh, this kid is...
Every day. Recently we've just done it seriously. Every day. I've spent more time with this young man than I have with my own son, which is kind of sad but true. No, every day. We've just been doing, not giving too many spoilers out, but we're just doing an episode at the moment where I've actually looked back, not narcissistically, at some of our earlier episodes and some of our earlier work to see my deportment and how I was cosseted in the early parts, in the early episodes. And what you see is it's just been growing, anyway, so it's just been growing up with him. It's been the most extraordinary thing.
Nice. Yeah. All right, and David, our Bruce Wayne. All right, so these guys talked about the baby pictures of the first season posters, and honestly, it was like watching like zygotes. They were so young and unformed. And I'm thinking the little kids screaming in the alleyway to what you have become and what you've gotten to do. Over the course of this, you have just risen to a challenge that guys half your age would have been terrified of taking on. When you signed on, when you thought, okay, I'm going to play Bruce Wayne, how did you approach it?
I really didn't think about it. I don't know. Like, I mean, I auditioned for this role. When you audition for things as an actor, you kind of get trained to not expect to get it. You don't get the percentage of things that you get are so small. So, I was like, you go on a lot of cool auditions. So when I went on this audition, I was like, yeah, that'll be fun to get rejected for. That's what you're trained to think. So I didn't think anything of it. And then when I did get it a couple months later, I was so over the moon, and so I wanted to make sure I was doing this character justice. And I read up on all the comic books, I watched all the movies, but I didn't really think about the fact that I would be then part of this world. I didn't think about my role in it. I just kind of was doing my job, going through the motions. And I don't really know when it hit me, but I'm just so thankful to be here. I'm just so thankful for all you guys. Thank you all for coming here. Thank you all for watching this. I can see like 2 rows of you with these lights, but thank you for being here. And this family has become, like Sean said, I've spent way more time with these guys the past 5 years than I have with like my real dad and my sister. And I couldn't think of anybody that I'd rather be spending it with.
Yeah. Nice. All right. So now, John, I know that we have a lot of things that you can tell us about this new season, but because there are some characters that aren't here, Barbara was her time's up. Timing was perfect. She is like # blow them all to death. Explosively. And where is she now? What is her, like, I feel like she has like the urban version of the like Amazon island.
That's exactly right. So she has created the Sirens as a man-free zone, where men can come in for certain periods of time if they buy their way in with money or etc. And she enforces her rule with an iron fist, as you would expect. She suffers a devastating loss early in the season, and it sends her down a very dark path for a while, where she is extremely angry at one of our cast members here. And she goes through, in many ways, I feel like Barbara has gone through more transformations than almost any other character we've had on the show, because she started out, I don't know if anybody remembers, but she ran an art gallery in season 1, which feels like a long time ago.
The ex-mistress of the cop and a junkie.
That was a different world. So she goes through one more transformation in the course of this season that I think is incredibly surprising and a really fitting into the character, and I know Aaron is going to absolutely crush it as well, because it's going to be both uplifting and incredibly bloody at the same time.
Okay. Okay, and then Lee, who's another character who's gone through multiple versions of her. Marina's been getting her gritty less. So nice. Where is she? Because if Enigma is going through missing time, and she's, I'm assuming, had the same treatment at Strange's hands?
At the beginning of the season, she's MIA for a long time, so we don't see her for a while. And when she finally does re-enter the story, she re-enters it and re-enters Jim's life. Kind of as like a meteorite. Like she strikes it and she changes everything around her. And again, like our other characters, she's going through one more final transformation before we get to the end of the season. And she's, kind of combining all the different characters she had before of Lee, the doctor, Lee, the Queen of the Narrows, Lee, the Cleopatra vampire, virus-ridden person. They all kind of come together at the end.
Okay, all right, good. All right, I have been told that, so when you said that Barbara is going to be mad at one of our characters here, I immediately looked at Robin.
Did I look at Robin?
Because,
no,
no,
you
I
did.
did.
Oh, yeah.
I did.
That's a
because
safe bet,
This character cannot maintain an ally to save his life. Like, he makes great headway and then takes 2 steps back, saves Tabitha, then kills Butch, then shoots her in the leg. So she has to listen to him saying, I did that to make you suffer.
He's a funny guy.
He does not play well with others. Where is Tabitha in all this? Is she still part of the Sirens situation?
She is still part of the Siren situations, but she has a vengeance, a blood debt against Penguin because of what happened to Butch at the end of last year, even though Oswald continues to maintain, but Butch was really his best friend at the time.
Right. So. And is it kind of like, get in line, honey? Like, we all have a blood vendetta against Oswald?
It's an interesting thing. By the time you get to 5 years, especially in a show like this, which is so violent in so many ways, you get any 3 people in the room, and they kind of all want to kill each other. Yeah. Like, everyone's like, I think you hurt me a year ago.
Except for Selena. Selena's always the
Selena
one,
did kill Alfred's best friend.
Killed my best friend.
Oh.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Threw him out a window.
He was gonna kill us.
Yeah, but Selena, like, every time she's in the presence of these supervillains, she's like, I don't understand this one. She's just like, where's the safe? I hear that one of our characters is getting a pet.
I get a pet.
And what can you tell us about this pet?
He's cute.
He's
an English bulldog. I actually should say she. She's playing a he. And her name is Cameron. There's so many Camerons in our... No, Camaro, sorry. Camaro. And she's amazing. Yeah.
So Oswald was the king of Gotham at one point, and then the mayor of Gotham. What kind of title would you give him now?
Emperor. I don't know.
Emperor.
Well, in a weird way, we start off, like I said before, Emperor Penguin. I'm slow. It's Sunday morning. So like I said before, when he takes control of City Hall and he wants to rebuild, sort of rebuild Gotham in his image, there is a very dictator style to the way he comes across, the way he approaches the situation. Like he is very he's like almost like a despot, in this feudal Gotham City that we've now established. Yeah.
I like this. I see a throne for some reason.
Sure.
Okay.
A chair is a throne. A throne's a chair.
Corey, you talked about how Enigma is forgetting where he's been and how he's under control. And this is another character who's gone through. I mean, he's been like the meek guy and then the mad guy. How would you describe Enigma 3.0?
I feel like if he had a theme song, it would be "Man in the Mirror." It's a lot of he thinks that his alter ego is back again, and he thinks he's in a war with himself. And there's great relief when he finds out that it is not actually him that is crazy, but he doesn't know who is responsible, and so he kind of goes on this quest, and we cross paths again because I swear it's this month.
All right, okay. And Cameron, Selena, we had the Killing Joke moment last season. Shot, paralyzed, very angry. Gotham was left in a position where it didn't seem to be very handicap accessible. Nor did it seem like there'd be a lot of really good medical attention available. But this character doesn't give up. What is her road to recovery like?
Well, let's just say that Selena always gets the crap end of the stick. I'm not going to say too much just because I don't know how much I can say. Also,
You can say everything.
I can say everything? All right. Well, Selena is.
In the first scene of episode 1.
Right.
Yo, that was okay. Listen. Oh, I lost my jacket. Oh well. It was my first day on set, and it was crazy. But we find we find Selena in a very dark place. She's actually very suicidal, and she attempts to end her life in a way. I think I said too much, but yeah, we find her in a place that we've never seen her before, and we find her in a state of despair and just this Selena that we've been shown. The Selena that we've all known for the last 4 seasons goes completely out the window, and we see this no longer this really tough and strong person, but this really lonely, really depressed young woman. And throughout the season, we see her struggle with that.
Also, one of Bruce's priorities at the beginning of the season is getting Selena better, and he has to make a choice about what he's willing to give up so that he could have the old Selena back. Because, like Cameron's saying, she's a completely different person at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
And that choice will. Some people might say it's good. Some people might say it's bad. Tune in, March 15th.
Is that the
Text 1 if you think Bruce made the right choice. But really, it's going to be very consequential, and its implications are going to stretch until the end of the season, until the end of the show.
Because as she comes back, her road to recovery is one of anger and vengeance, and also fear of the person who put her there. And she drives straight for the Jeremiah, when she uncovers where Jeremiah is in the city, and his form like a bullet. And it's pretty dark.
Yeah, and it's been, like, as an actor and as a human who has gone through similar things, this season has been so crazy. And I'm just, the part that John spoke of, where she goes on this path of vengeance and really anger, it shows it. I don't know. I'm just really excited for people to see it, because I don't even know what to say, because it's just like I don't know. It's just, I'm really excited for the audience to be able to see what you don't see on network television when it comes to young women, is that, even if you are the strongest person possible, you still can be broken down and feel like you can't be put back together. And unfortunately, because of what Bruce does, Selena
Blame
goes...
it on me now.
Instead of... when you're in a broken place, you have 2 ways of healing. You have the light way and you have the dark way. And you can either be angry and you can be fearful and you can be really depressed, or you can be hopeful and you can be loving and you can be the complete opposite. And Selena goes on the rage path, and it's gonna be, I'm stoked for everyone to see it.
Nice.
I'm stoked.
Nice. And now, for our heroes, what are your roles in saving Gotham? Because it does, kind of like where Selena starts off, it seems to be in a place where it cannot be put back together.
Distinct lack of heroes. Yeah. Well, I don't know. The thing is, all I know, personally speaking, is the culmination of the 5 seasons we had before, is that we develop into the roles that everyone is expecting them to be, if you see what I mean. I actually do become the Alfred that people know and love, and the supporter and the buttress to young Master Bruce. In fact, we did a scene the other day where I let him go, and it's almost like he wants me to stop him. So I think that said an awful lot in that one scene, is the fact that it's taken 5 seasons to get there. But I actually let him go now. I'm just there for him if he needs me.
Nice. All right.
I think it's significant that, Bruce and Alfred stay on. Obviously, Jim is spearheading the Green Zone. It's all Jim Gordon, and and Harvey's around because I think Harvey has nowhere else to go. You know what I mean? If he doesn't have Jim, he's a very empty man. And so what it's like these pillars. You have Jim Gordon, and then you have Bruce and Alfred, and how do you fight anarchy? How do you it is completely anarchic, and it's incredibly violent, and yet there are these people. I remember there's one scene I got to have with David that was kind of beautiful, and in the midst of it, I'm not saying this is the scene, but it's like, if this person who has every opportunity to leave this hellhole has the means, has the ways, and this young man stays, then what does that mean? Right. That is that beacon of hope. And so, I think it comes from where it started when Jim Gordon sat down with a young Bruce Wayne in an alleyway, and that's kind of where we're ending. It's kind of, I think they're the two pillars who carry us through.
And you said how are the good guys going to save the city? Kind of the point is that they don't.
Yeah.
The city doesn't get saved. Obviously what we've been saying since the very beginning, this show kind of tracks the downward spiral of Gotham that eventually gives rise to the necessity of a Batman, something larger than life, something larger than normal ways, cop ways of taking down bad guys, because these bad guys aren't normal bad guys. They are also larger than life. And especially in No Man's Land, like John said, these characters are all gonna have to. The good guys are all gonna have to come together, and like Donald said, Bruce and Gordon are working very intimately this season. Bruce is kind of always around the GCPD, and everybody's just doing what they can, and the city's hanging on by a thread. We're just waiting for the government to finally start the reunification process. And it just kind of keeps getting delayed, and you'll see how that how the villains kind of take that and hang that over the good guy's head.
And Chris, how's Tech in this situation? Does he have to resort to actually getting out there?
Oh, yeah. Lucius is efficient. No, I think Lucius has been clear from jump. Like, whatever is in support of Bruce Wayne's survival, whether I'm working at the GCPD, whether I'm working at Wayne, it's all... Like, if Bruce had left Gotham, Lucius would have left Gotham. Like, the whole objective is, if he wants to protect Gotham, then that's what we're doing. I failed your father, I'm with you now. And even if we don't have scenes, that are face-to-face, everything I believe that I'm doing is in service of his goal. So similar to Alfred, it's like you can see inside of who Bruce is becoming parts of Lucius and Alfred. It's kind of left brain, right brain. And so as he becomes the man that he's becoming, he needs us in different ways. Right. So I do have time to go off to help GCPD because they're a bunch of dummies. Because Bruce is smarter than them.
Yeah. Okay, so we know from the trailer and the end of last season that we will see Zaz again. We'll see Mad Hatter, Scarecrow, Hugo Strange, and a couple new
How are
ones.
we affording all these people? It's
I
amazing.
do not know. Magpie.
Yes, we do see Magpie. She's awesome. Yeah.
And then
Oswald had a scene with Magpie recently too, and
And Cameron told some journalists on the set this week that Jeremiah is getting a girlfriend.
yes, he has a somewhat deranged girlfriend who dresses in a multicolored fashion, I would say.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
And they have a very, I wouldn't describe it as a healthy relationship.
Right.
But, I think there's a meeting of minds there.
Right. Okay. All right. So, does she have a big old bat, kind of?
Well, I think she does like to hit people with certain things, you know.
Okay. All right. And then you guys,
She likes roller skates.
Oh, okay. All right. So that's massive. Yeah. And then you guys made our.
I didn't say anything.
You guys, this is all off the record. You made heads explode when the world found out that you have an episode called I Am Bane.
Oh, did that give it away?
I mean, you start to theorize,
I know,
and it was shortly after a certain actor signed on.
Right.
So why don't we talk about that now?
When you're doing the seasons, you're trying to, and you have all this rogues gallery, you do try to want to parcel some of that out like over the various years. And for years and years and years, when we say like, can we use Bane? Can we use Bane? The answer is like, no, we don't think we can use Bane. So finally, we found that if you ask and you plead and you beg enough, and they find out that your show's not going on anymore, they'll give it to you.
There you go.
So we had always wanted to do it, and we'd always wanted to do it in a way that has not been told on screen or as much in the comic books, which was to tell the story, to really tell the story of how he was before he became Bane, what was the road there to, and we tied it to Jim's backstory. In a way, I think that it's clearly it's different than Canon, but I feel like it then is like a tributary that goes into Canon, so we go, oh, that's a different version of getting to the same vein that of Bane that we had before. And when Shane comes in to play him, he plays him with just a level of this is weird to say, but authenticity. Like you believe that character, and you believe that guy is the one who then became this, steroided out monster. And he's awesome. And Alfred has a nice showdown with him at a certain point.
Yes.
So it's Shane West, and actually, I wouldn't consider the nice showdown.
It's a nice showdown, yeah.
We can reveal how it ends.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Do you want to?
Well, I mean, am I allowed to? I suppose you're just between us. Yeah. Yeah, we have an altercation, and Kat's involved, Selena's involved, and we give very good account of ourselves, but I get my back broken.
There it is.
It
There it
feels
is.
so weird
Mic
just
drop.
spilling all of these
Yeah, isn't
beans.
this?
It
Yeah.
gives me anxiety because for the last however many months I've been like, don't say anything, keep it a surprise.
I
And
don't
now
think
it's
we're
like,
gonna get canceled.
Oh, I guess I can trust you guys.
All right, and two other things, and then we're going to go to audience questions. So I don't know where they have that set up. So, and so in the same way that Alfred has a run-in with Bane, Bruce will be. Oh, good God! You
Hello.
were all out there this
Ooh,
time.
that's cute.
Wow.
All those people.
All these cute faces.
Bruce is going to have a run-in with a very familiar winged swarm.
Hold on. Oh, yes.
Yes.
David, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, Bruce is gonna meet his first bat. And it's pretty awesome.
All right. Excellent. Okay. All right. So these have to be fast because we have like 11 minutes.
Hi, I'm Kim from Columbus, Ohio.
Hey.
Okay, so first off, I want to know from Corey if you could tell us the difference between Nigma's motivation and that of your alter ego.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Academia. Their motivations. Well, I think, to be fair, I think they've changed over time. The thing that is constant is they're antagonistic. I think what was a very exciting moment in terms of their conflict with each other is when in the mirror it switched. Where Nigma was in the mirror and presenting himself to Riddler and tormenting Riddler rather than the other side.
Yeah.
And that coin flipped. So I think, what is their motivation? I feel like it's changed, but I guess I'll avoid your question by saying the highlight really was the flip.
Yeah.
Didn't answer the question, but I love that you're from Columbus.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Jonah.
Jonah.
Hi.
Hi,
Jonah.
Good to see you, man.
Uber fan.
Thank you so much for the last 5 seasons. They've been absolutely incredible. And what I want to ask is, from a narrative point of view, what's been the most unexpected part of Gotham?
Everything.
From a narrative point of view. I was. Well, I'm not. I'm going to do what Corey did not answer, but I will say the most unexpected thing for me in just this whole experience as a whole, as a person, is the love that I have for these people. Like I wasn't expecting my first big job. I didn't think that I would be working with people that would be so collaborative and so inspiring. And that's and I also speak for the crew. Like for both of those, that's been the most surprising thing and also the most rewarding thing for me. But yeah.
I think one of the craziest turns of the show was when Bruce's parents got killed in an alley. I know I didn't see it coming.
I think it's a great question. I think something that our writers have done that has, I think, inflamed outrage at times and then garnered a lot of respect is the daring to change canon a little bit. And those that are like super traditionalists may be upset about it, but I thought it kept this show, it gave this show a life and a conversation to it, because they were bold enough to surprise people and kind of twist stories a little bit.
Yeah, I think the propensity to love and to hate and to be good and to be bad, I think that was the thing that surprised me the most, that everyone has the propensity to do awful things as well as good things. And to see people morph from being good to bad and bad to good has been really interesting, because I don't think I've ever seen that before in the Batman canon.
Awesome. All right.
Good to see you, Jonah.
See you, Jonah.
Thanks. Go ahead.
I love this show. I've been watching since season 1, first episode. My question isn't actually for you guys, it's for the audience. Can we give them a standing ovation?
Thank you.
I'm so glad that worked.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Okay, I heard that Kristen from Brooklyn, I heard that there might be a Batman Beyond thing coming in, and I was like, would any of you be interested in going in for it? I know you don't necessarily control that, but I would love to see you guys continue in the DC universe.
Sure, sign us all up.
yeah.
I mean, I don't know anything about that, but yeah.
I don't know if the TV universe and the film universe will ever really kind of cross paths, but call your senator.
I don't trust the senators anymore.
Oh my God. You guys have to see this.
Hi, I'm Alexandra from Puerto Rico, and I got a question. I got a question from all of you. What's the thing that you will miss the most from filming Gotham? Is the food, the mannequins, or the costumes? Be honest.
The people.
People.
This show, and I think I can speak for everyone, has been such a safe place. We've all gone through stuff throughout our lives the last 5 years, and to be able to have, this, I mean, I guess a rock, but it would be a little bit more comfortable than a rock. This consistent thing that we could, in times that we couldn't really count on our personal life to help us out, we could at least depend on our work and our cast members and the crew, and we could really depend on something to make everything, or at least something a little better, a little bit more tangible. So I'd say just the fact that, it's been a safe space.
And I'm going to miss having the privilege of being around this fandom, because y'all are crazy.
Yes.
You guys have been so good to us.
Yeah.
You've been so good to us. Thank you.
I'm also going to miss Robin's suits.
I will too.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Hi guys, I'm Anthony from Queens, New York.
Hey, Anthony. What's up?
I'm an FDNY paramedic. Cameron, by the way, I saw you fiddling with your hand. If you need a paramedic, I'm here.
Thank you for your service.
So as an FDNY paramedic working in New York City, the city has helped shape who I am as a person, from the cultures, the history, and the prestige. So my question is, how has filming in New York City helped you portray the characters that you play? I've been wanting to ask that ever since the premiere, so I'm glad I'm able to ask.
Nice.
I'm so glad you asked that. It's such a great question.
By the way, King of Gotham, I love you.
I love you too, man. Yeah. Well,
Emperor.
yeah. New York City forms the show. It informs all of our characters. The energy here. Ben McKenzie himself has said he wouldn't have agreed to do the show if they didn't shoot it in New York City. It's a character of the show. Again, shooting in New York City on location, there's nothing quite like it. And the way we've been embraced by people, like the neighborhoods that we go into, it's just been incredible. And yeah, every frame you see, New York City is there, and it's informing all of us. But yeah.
Nice. Thanks. All right. Go ahead.
I'm Jack from Florida. Hi, Robin.
Hey, man. What's up, Jack?
My question is, now that we're getting Bane and we're getting Kin Snake, what can you talk about with their relationship?
Now that we're getting Bane and King Snake?
Yeah. We're not getting King Snake, I'm sorry. Maybe season 6? Yeah.
There
Fox? Is there rumors out there?
Yeah, there were rumors that King Snake was coming.
No, I'm afraid not. Yeah. You know, it's the tough thing about doing 10 episodes, especially, is we had to crunch things and crunch things and crunch things. So we had all of these characters and like people we wanted to use over the years. And we always thought, oh, there'll be time. And especially for season 10, Jesus. 10 episodes of season 5, it became more and more, I think the guys will say, about the core characters having scenes with each other. So we do have new characters coming in. We have Mother and Orphan, and we have Bane, and we have a couple of surprises, as well as Magpie, but not everybody, unfortunately. Sorry.
Thank you.
And also in the spoiler rumor section, actually that March 15th date is an absolute rumor. It has not been confirmed.
Come on, David.
It's something that's been floating out there for a while, but Fox will be releasing a premiere date soon. So, yeah, go ahead.
Don't listen to me. Sorry about that.
Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Steven. I'm from Long Island, and first of all, I'm gonna miss the show a lot. I'm gonna miss you guys especially. I wanted to ask, what was the most emotionally draining and saddening scene you guys had to film throughout the show for any of you?
Killing Alfred.
Yeah, being killed.
Being killed.
It was actually really alarming because I didn't read the second part of that. I read 221 or whatever it was, and it was 222. 222 got lost in the post. So John got a very nervous phone call saying, "What's happened? You just killed me." He said, "No, you're fine. There's a pit behind you. You'll be all right." But it was very alarming. No, but that was a very emotional scene because to love someone so much that you allow them to kill you to bring you back, I think is a kind of goes beyond the call of duty, really.
Yeah.
You should have gotten a raise.
Also, my suicide attempt scene in season 5, that was tough. So we have a lot to look forward to.
Yeah.
For me, it was the season 2 when Penguin's father died. That was a very intense, difficult day. But Paul Rubens, give it up for Paul Rubens.
Yes.
The dream. Yeah.
Oh. Something on my face, Robin? I feel like most of my devastating stuff, aside from losing or killing Kristen Kringle on accident, I feel like I could put a few scenes with Penguin in a hat and just pick one out, because there have been some really devastating moments because the friendship, the alliance was so strong, and through the show, it's really the only person I trusted on a very deep level, and that he allowed himself to really have a loving, caring relationship with, and so some of the backstabbing there was particularly crushing.
There was one moment, and I know it's really late, in the pilot, we're shooting, it's freezing, we're in the alleyway, young Bruce Wayne sitting on the step, Jim Gordon's with him, and Alfred pulls up, and we're getting to know each other. And Sean pulls up in this Bentley that's not available to the general public kind of thing, this beautiful car, and he goes marching right through, and whether it was not directed or it's so small and poignant, and he's walking this broken little boy back from having witnessed this violent crime, and he just nudges him to stand up straightly. And it was I was just standing in the alley, just day 2 of working or whatever, and I was like, wow, and it's never left me. It was such a beautiful moment.
I know we're at the end, but don't you do that. You wait a second. You wait 1 second.
Right.
You're not gonna X me out of this. My most emotion. Lucius doesn't lead with emotion. Chris Chalk does. So my dad died. We were just talking about this. My real Chris Chalk's dad died, and I had to come to work, and I was working with, I think it was Sean, Dono, and Chickless, and because you don't get a day off. If you work in what we do, and so it's not like I could be like, my bad, my dad's dead, so I can't come. And these people were so kind and generous and got me through that day. And so that's to speak of how amazing these humans are. And that was my most emotional day.
All right, so the doomsday clock ticked down and is now running into, I guess, the next panel. Yeah, so I have to end the questions there. But to make it up to you, John will confirm that in the series finale,
Episode 10, the series finale, takes place 10 years in the future. And it does that for the particular reason so we can have one character arrive with pointy ears who's not a Vulcan.
So look forward to that. You guys, thank you. Let's give it up for Gotham.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
you.